Hey guys, it's Ian Lives. Today we're going to be doing another monthly ranking. I do these every month where I go through everything I watched in that month and I rank them from worst to best. This time we're talking about April. Another month that went by really quick for me. What I was supposed to do for the whole month of April was watch space movies. So movies that take place in space. That's what I was supposed to do for every single day of the month. I ended up doing that for about 12 days. I got burnt out, so I just dropped it. So a lot of these movies are going to be space themed, but not all of them. So that's going to be why you're like, oh, why are there so many sci-fi movies on here? Or why are there, that's why. The last 2 months, I've watched 90-something movies, which was crazy. It's kind of sad, it's kind of insane. I not only rewatched a lot of movies this month, which don't count in the rankings, but I also kind of tried to cut back just a little bit. I watched 75 movies this month, which I think is pretty healthy. It's not too much, it's not too little. 75 movies in 1 month. That's still a lot to some people. Number 75 is going to be the bottom of the barrel. I haven't said that in a long time. The bottom of the barrel. The Caller. This is from like 2011, 2012. It's this movie about this girl who moves into this apartment and she starts getting a bunch of phone calls. And basically the phone calls are from a girl named Rose who is from the past. She's from like 30, 40 years before when the movie takes place. Interesting concept that was just so generic. Predictable jump scares, horrible CGI and spiritual stuff, horrible twists, a lot of plot holes. It really spirals off to be a horrible movie. I did not like The Caller at all. So that's number 75. Number 74 is going to be Amityville in Space. This is a movie I found on Tubi when I was doing my little space movie marathon. It's actually a lot of fun. But it's very bad. It's not a good movie. As you would assume. The acting's not good. Everything is a green screen and they all have green outlines around them. It doesn't look good. But it does have campiness to it, which is hard to do in a modern movie. This came out just a couple years ago. It's really hard to give me a campy feel in a movie that's not from the 80s. So I give it props for that. Number 73 is going to be Inseminoid. This is an Alien ripoff. To the finest degree. It's about this girl that gets pregnant with an alien. And she gives birth to it. And she also goes crazy. And it's just that girl screaming the whole entire movie. It is very, very, very annoying. It gave me a headache. Number 72 is going to be a new movie. A new Shudder movie that came out. And that is Baghead. They started teasing this. They started posting pictures of it. And it was giving me Castle Freak vibes. And I love Castle Freak. The original. I didn't care for the remake that Shudder did a couple years ago. But I really do enjoy the original Castle Freak. And this gave me that vibes. They revealed the poster art with the hand touching the girl. And then they revealed a still of the monster who had chains on her. So I was kind of hyped for this. I watched it and it was an extremely boring Talk to Me ripoff. Out of all movies, I wasn't expecting it to rip off Talk to Me. It does still have Castle Freak feels to it. It doesn't copy it at all. It's not like the movie at all. It's just that gothic medieval mansion with the monster in the basement. That's like the only similarities. But basically there's this monster in this. It's a pub. It's a bar that this girl inherits from her dad. Pretty much, again, similar to Castle Freak, because that's what happened in Castle Freak. It just wasn't a bar. But she finds out that there's this girl in the basement that if you talk to it, you can speak to dead people. Sounds a lot like Talk to Me, doesn't it? It just wasn't creative. It was really boring and bland. It had generic jump scares. And it just moved like this. And I was waiting so long for it to end. And it never picked up. It never intrigued me. It never grabbed my attention. I was not a fan of Baghead at all. Which really pains me to say. I was hoping that this was going to be good. Number 71 is probably going to get a lot of people angry because I know that this is a cult classic at this point. That is Event Horizon. I hated this movie. I'll even go to that degree. The only reason why it's higher than the bottom, it's still in the bottom, but the reason why it's not the last movie on this list is because it at least has some 90s cheese to it. But I found it, again, to be extremely boring. It didn't grab my attention. The acting and CGI is not even, like, outdated in a campy, fun way. It's just bad. It ages like milk. It's very 90s. Everything about this movie is 90s in the worst way possible. The plot is interesting if you squint your eyes, because they don't execute it on screen better. Now, I've heard that the director's cut is a little better than the movie that people quote-unquote love. So if the director's cut is a little bit better than me hating the original cut, maybe I'll check out that at some point, or maybe I'll just rewatch this at some point, but it wasn't my thing at all. Unfortunately. I had my hopes out for that. Number 70 is going to be another newly released movie. It just came out on digital. It's called Hanky Panky. This is a horror comedy that stars Seth Green as this killer talking hat. It's one of those stoner comedies, you know, you get high with your friends and you plop it on. I was sober while watching it, which was probably its biggest weakness, to be completely honest. But, you know, it has fun moments. They do this, in the middle of the movie, they do this murder mystery bit, where they're trying to figure out why there's this dead girl in the snow. You know, the murder mystery bit. And it reminded me a lot of Clue. I'm a huge Clue guy. They even do the thing where the guy's like running through the house and like, then he went here. You know, just like in Clue toward the end of that movie. I enjoyed that bit. I enjoyed that whole joke, you know. It never really grabbed me again after that. It never really was my cup of tea after that. I'm not a huge fan of these over obnoxious stoner horror comedies. I'm just not. Number 69 is going to be Ender's Game. This is a kids movie about these guys who go to space to battle or train and battle for this war. It wasn't very good. It just wasn't very good. Number 68 is going to be Mountaintop Motel Massacre. That's a mouthful. A movie that I wanted it to be about this crazy lady who goes around this motel and kills people. Instead of that, she just messes with these people. She just torments them, throwing rattlesnakes in their room, throwing spiders on them while they're sleeping. It's just boring. It's just so boring. I don't know how they fumbled the bag with that. I thought it was going to be a fun, campy slasher, and it was the opposite, really. Number 67 is going to be Evil Bong. I watched this for 420. Again, I was sober because I'm not of age, obviously. But I was sober while watching this, which again, probably not how it was intended to be watched. I mean, it's called Evil Bong. Full moon being attached to it had me kind of excited that it was going to be a more campy side of the comedy. Because for horror standards, it could be campy comedy, slapstick comedy, or over-the-top annoying comedy. This kind of fell in the annoying comedy. Having Cheech with the Hot Wheels on the boobs. I mean, it was a little far-fetched. Having an evil killer bong to begin with. I don't know why I was expecting the bong to be actually killing people with a knife or something. No. You smoke the bong and you go to a strip club and you get killed in the strip club. It's weird. Number 66 is going to be Dark Star. This is John Carpenter's directorial debut, which this is a movie that he made in college. And they ended up stretching it to make it a theatrical movie, which definitely shows. It involves a killer beach ball. That's all I'll say. It was very boring to me. I know people like it. It wasn't for me. Number 65 is going to be Forbidden World. I don't remember much about this movie, but I think it's along the same lines as Inseminoid, where it kind of tries to rip off Alien. These people go on this planet, they bring an alien on their ship. Pretty self-explanatory. It wasn't very compelling to me. Number 64 is going to be Moontrap. Again, I was on my space binge that I was supposed to do all month, but whatever. This starred Bruce Campbell in space, which had me very intrigued. It also has the dude from Star Trek, which I don't watch that show, so I wouldn't know. It set a high bar and just completely broke the bar. They're like, in a bad way. I mean that in a bad way. It was abysmal. Number 63 is going to be Pluto Nash. This is a comedy with Eddie Murphy where he's like this super gangster pimp on the moon, because it takes place in the future where they're all living on the moon. The comedy didn't land. There's some very, very insensitive jokes in here about race and sexuality. It's like, it just ages horrible. Everything in this movie ages horrible. And it bombed then. This is one of the worst movies to ever get bombed in movie history. It horribly bombed. Number 62 is going to be another one you guys are going to get mad at. 2001: A Space Odyssey was not my thing at all. I nodded off probably 4 times. It was so slow, and I don't know what the plot is. I still don't. So I guess I'm just not smart enough for that one. Number 61 is going to be Edge of the Axe. This is a slasher movie that really only stands out for its kill scenes and the killer design. It opens up with a death in a car wash, which was amazing. The killer design is creepy, it's subtle, it's simple. The rest of the movie in between the kill scenes is very bland and slow. So, didn't completely work for me. Number 60 is going to be Critters Attack. I did a Critters ranking, so go check that out. But pretty much, like, it just had bad acting. I think that was its biggest weakness. But I did like how they didn't use CGI. They used practical, which means that it shows that you know that they care about it. Number 59 is going to be this little 80s movie called The Slayer. Again, a movie that sounded like it was going to be a really cool psychological horror film, but just turned out to be a spiritual snooze fest. It's about these ghosts, about these spirits, and it's very slow. Nothing really happens for a while. So not a fan of that one. Number 58 is going to be Tobe Hooper's Life Force. I didn't finish this one. Admittedly, I didn't. And admittedly, I wouldn't even score it. But it just didn't grab me. It has the Tobe Hooper syndrome. A lot of his movies have this. Besides Texas Chainsaw, which had to warm up on me. I didn't like that movie the first time I watched it. Where they're very slow. And then the final 30 minutes, something happens. I'm not a fan of that style at all. I know that's kind of Tobe Hooper's thing. But I'm just not a fan. Number 57 is going to be Final Cut, I think is what it's called on Shudder. They put it out on Shudder. I struggled for a long time to find it on Letterboxd because it has 3 titles. Ticket to Hell, Most Wanted, I think, and then Final Cut. It was kind of disguised as a slasher. It's not a slasher at all. They try to make this psychological horror movie that just falls right on its face. Another boring movie. I know I keep saying that, but it's just true. Number 56 is going to be Apollo 18. Or is that 13? I can't tell. I think it's 18. Apollo 18. This is the found footage horror movie in space. I will say that the final reveal is really cool. But before that, again, it's very slow and boring. Number 55 is going to be Cowboys vs. Aliens. Starts off really strong, where you get this very cool Western feel. Drops way down from there. Number 54 is going to be ISS. This is a new space movie that just came out this year that tries way too hard to be political. Like, it had a cool concept, where you have these Americans and Russians that are in this space shuttle while the world is ending. So they're trapped in the space shuttle, and the reason why the world is ending is because they're at war with Russia. So it's like you're having this little war on this space shuttle too. They end up turning on each other, but it didn't grab me. It was almost there, and then it flew away. Number 53 is going to be Festival of the Living Dead. This is a new Tubi original that came out. That is a spiritual sequel. Unofficial sequel to Night of the Living Dead, where you follow Ben, you follow his granddaughter. The acting was the worst thing about this movie, but it did have some campy fun to it. Number 52 is going to be John Carpenter's Ghost on Mars. This feels like a video game. I don't know why the story's laid out to where you're in a flashback. which those flashbacks are being told as a story by the main character in the future. It was very confusing. It reminded me a lot of a video game, how it was told, how you go through this event, and then it shows the same event, but from the other character's perspective. It has fun moments, but just feels very lazy. Number 51 is going to be The Stranger. I have a whole review coming out. It might already be out by now. This is a new movie that came out with Michael Monroe and Dane DeHaan. It was actually a mini-series on a platform that failed. And the mini-series came out in 2020. Since the platform failed, you couldn't watch it no longer, so Hulu decided to reconstruct the movie to make it normal length and released it. It's a shit show, which is, like, pains me to say because of the cast, but so much stuff that doesn't make sense. Number 50 is going to be Life. This might be the most blatant alien ripoff there is, honestly. And it's just all these A-list actors like Jake Gyllenhaal. They're in space, and this little slug alien thing is just floating around killing them, and it's growing as it kills them. Number 49 is going to be Ad Astra. This is the space movie with Brad Pitt that tries so hard to be, it tries so hard. I don't know how to explain it, but it was like psychological. There's moments I liked, there's moments I didn't. I can't really even talk about it. Number 48 is going to be Critters 3. Again, I did a ranking. Number 47 is going to be High Life. This is another movie in space. That's A24. It's got Robert Pattinson, Mia Goth, and it's about these people that are basically serving their prison time in space, and they're slowly going into a black hole. It was just a little too weird for me, I think. Number 46 is going to be Critters 4. This one's just really fun to me. I do prefer it over 3. I really like Brad Dourif in it, so. Number 45 is going to be the remake of Dawn of the Dead, Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. I know that it has a lot of fans, but I just wasn't a fan of how these zombies looked, how they acted, the cinematography, some of the dialogue. It was very, very, very of its time. It was very cheesy, and it just holds no merit to the original, which we'll see much later, by the way. Number 44 is going to be The Third Saturday in October. Shudder just recently put this one out, and it's a really cool homage to old horror movies. Number 43 is going to be Nothing But Trouble. This was suggested to me by Planet CHH. This was a really weird, kind of Texas Chainsaw-esque movie with Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase. It was fun, but it was very wacky. Number 42 is going to be Galaxy of Terror. I actually enjoyed this one quite a bit. You got some great horror icons in here, like, damn, what are the names? The guy that does Captain Spaulding and Robert Englund. And I think Brad Dourif isn't in this one. I don't think he is. He might be. Sid Haig. There you go. Number 41 is going to be Bones and All. I didn't care for this as much as other people. I thought it was just okay. I really liked the beginning, but then the middle, it's just boring romance stuff that it just threw me out of the story. The beginning's great. The end is great. The middle is bad. So, very up and down for me. Overall, number 40 is going to be Big Trouble in Little China. It's a lot of fun, but just didn't grab me as much as other people. Number 39 is going to be Multiple Maniacs. This is a John Waters film that is very weird, very obnoxious, and it took me a while to get used to. There's a 15-minute scene that is a reenactment of the Bible that just, I almost shut off the movie because I was like, what the hell am I watching? But thankfully it gets better from there. Number 38 is going to be this new Tubi original called Low Lives. That was kind of getting some buzz on TikTok and YouTube. So I checked it out. I can't say much because there's actually a plot twist at the very beginning of the movie that sets the whole tone for the whole movie. But it was a lot of fun. Think of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but instead of the people going into the family's house, the family's going into the victim's house. So I thought it was a lot of fun. Number 37 is going to be Slugs. This is an fun 80s creature feature that has really good gore. Number 36 is going to be Stage Fright. Not the Stage Fright slasher from the 80s, but the Stage Fright from 2014, I believe. This is a full-on slasher musical that I thought was really well made and had some catchy songs. I recommend this one. Number 35 is going to be Starship Troopers. I thought this was a lot of fun, but again, didn't love it as much as other people. Most of the CGI and dialogue really ages horrible. So, number 34 is going to be Madhouse. I just talked about this in my underrated horror movie video, so go check that out. Number 33 is going to be The Martian. This is the space movie with Matt Damon when he's stranded on Mars. It was really good, but it got kind of corny and cheesy toward the end. When you have everyone trying to figure out how to get them, and they're like, "Oh my God, we got to piece these clues." It got kind of cheesy. It got kind of corny, but it still had some good moments. Number 32 is going to be this new miniseries on Netflix that got a lot of buzz, and that is Baby Reindeer. I was really intrigued with this because it's based off the true story, and the true story actually happened to the lead guy that's in this show. I will say the show was really solid. Then episode 4 happened, and some really tragic shit happens. It really takes you out of the story that episodes 1 through 3 built, and just throws you into a different one very abruptly, and I didn't care for it. If it's based on true events, that's awful that happened to him, but I did not care for that episode, not because of the content, but just because I feel like it kind of messed up the plot that was going really steadily from episodes 1 to 3. From there on, it tried to fix itself, but never really did. I thought that this was good. I didn't think it was great. I didn't think it was bad. I just thought it was good. Number 31 is going to be Spencer. This is the movie about Princess Diana, where Kristen Stewart plays Princess Diana. But it's not a biopic. They do this really interesting thing where it's just Princess Diana's likeness. It's not about her life necessarily. It was very interesting. It was very well made. I really liked how the movie looked. I really liked the score. And Kristen Stewart, this might be the best performance I've seen from her. She completely disappears into the role, and it's incredible. But it's just not really my thing. These historic movies don't really pique my interest most of the time. Number 30 is going to be Ginger Snaps. Yeah, this was a first watch. This has gotten buzz. I've heard about it since I first got into horror. Ginger Snaps this, Ginger Snaps this. For the longest time, I thought it was a freaking vampire movie, so it kind of shocked me that it was a werewolf movie. I really liked how they made, it's basically Scream, but with werewolves. You have these kids in high school, and you got these two sisters. One gets bit by a werewolf, and the other one has to figure out how to cure it. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy Ginger Snaps. Number 29 is going to be Abigail. I did a whole movie review on this. I thought it was good. 28 is going to be Starman, another John Carpenter movie that isn't horror at all. It's actually a sci-fi love story. I really love the first part of the movie and the middle part. The final part gets all slow and lovey-dovey, which again is not my style. But the first and middle is this really fun adventure film with the main girl and Jeff Bridges talking like an alien. And it was hilarious. It was charming. Once they go into like the slow lovey-dovey, oh my God, it loses me just a little bit. Number 27 is going to be Howard the Duck. Dude, why do people hate this? This is the perfect 80s camp that I need, man. This is the 80s movies I love. Over-the-top ridiculous humor. Ridiculous special or practical effects. The design of the duck is hilarious. Some of the choices, like to have a love interest that falls in love with a duck, is very weird. But I just had so much fun with it. Number 26 is going to be Host. This was a big hit during COVID because it takes place during COVID and it was recorded during COVID. And it's all recorded over a Zoom call. Very interesting concept for a found footage film. I thought it was really solid. Number 25 is going to be Critters. Check out my ranking. Number 24 is going to be Pulse. This is a Japanese movie, I believe. Again, it's really slow, which isn't my preferred taste. But I really enjoyed their take on demons, ghosts, It was very interesting how they use technology to portray demons and ghosts as well. I really enjoyed it. Number 23 is going to be Critters 2. Check out my ranking. Number 22 is going to be Immaculate, which also got hella buzz. The ending is so great. Oh my god, the ending. I can't even think. I really like this movie. I've already seen it twice. And I just really like it. It does feel a lot like Rosemary's Baby. But Sydney Sweeney, dude. She knocked it out of the park. And I'm not a huge religion horror guy at all. The only one I would say I love is Exorcist. The original. This one, I really liked it. And that ending scene, but she's just screaming for like 2 minutes and it's uncut. That really shows Sydney Sweeney's capability. I want to see her in more shit. Number 21 is going to be Opera. This is Dario Argento. Italian movie. That is one of the better Italian horror movies I've seen so far. I'm just dipping my feet in the water when it comes to giallo and Italian horror, because it's such a big thing to explore. I've only seen a couple. I've seen New York Ripper. I've seen Zombie. I've seen a couple. I really enjoyed Opera. Number 20 is going to be Apollo 13. This was a really good story, and it has a great cast. So, number 19 is going to be Anaria. I believe this is it's either like a German or a French film. I'm sorry for not remembering, but it's about these guys that this like huge group of characters. It's like a bunch of people that are moving from Earth to Mars because Earth is it's dying. It's a dying planet. And something happens to where they're stuck in space for like forever on this ship. They run out of supplies. It's a fight for survival. I really enjoyed it. Number 18 is going to be Mute Witness. Again, was getting a lot of buzz this month because it was put on a streaming service. It was put on Shudder for the first time since streaming services have been a thing. It was a really solid thriller. I really enjoyed it. It's about this girl who can't speak, and she pretty much gets involved with this serial killer. And no one knows what she's talking about because she can't speak. I really enjoyed it. Number 17 is going to be Dressed to Kill. This is, I think, Italian. It's Brian De Palma. And it's a murder mystery that the beginning of the film I hated. I was like, oh my god, I'm not going to like this. People are going to hate me. It's very slow. It's very weirdly erotic. That middle and end is incredible. I mean, it's just great. It hooks you in to them trying to piece the puzzle together. You really get involved in the mystery. The reveal is obvious, and I called it very early on. But the movie makes up for that. Number 16 is going to be First Man. This is the movie that stars Ryan Gosling, and it's about Neil Armstrong. It was very good. Number 15 is going to be Moon, which stars Sam Rockwell in space. And it's a very psychological thriller almost, and I really enjoyed it. Number 14 is going to be Galaxy Quest. What a great little charming comedy that's very meta and self-aware. I loved it. Number 13 is going to be Problemista. This is another new... It's not completely A24. I think they executive produced it. It's actually produced by Fruit Tree, which is Emma Stone's new production label. Problemista is this very smart, unique, artsy telling of a coming-of-age story. And I really loved what it did with it. I really enjoyed this one. They portray arguments as sword fights. It's like you're in somebody's mind. And it was very well made. I highly recommend it. Number 12 is going to be Alice, Sweet Alice. This lives up to the hype. This was a really good mystery slasher movie that just sucks you in front to end. Very interesting subject matter. And that opening kill is very good. Number 11 is going to be From Dusk Till Dawn. This has been recommended to me a lot. Have you not seen Dusk Till Dawn? This was a really good movie. It just was good. It starts off very crime and thriller. And then the second half hard shifts into vampire, which is just very campy and fun and gory. Great movie. Number 10 is going to be Gravity. Talk about a movie that just had me on edge the whole entire time. I hate heights. I hate the idea of floating into abyss. This is the one that stars Sandra Bullock and George Clooney. Sandra Bullock is a new astronaut. She's on, I think, her first mission in space. And particles from a meteor crash hits their shuttle and basically breaks her cord. And so she's now just floating in space. That's just the beginning. It goes on. It goes way farther than that as the movie goes along. I really enjoyed Gravity. Number 9 is going to be I, Madman. Talk about this movie more, for real. This was incredible. But this girl who's obsessed with horror novels, horror books. And she slowly realizes that the serial killer from the books that she's reading has escaped the book. And he's now killing people in real life. Very interesting. The first half of it is very, like, horror, this girl not knowing what's going on. The second half really focuses on the detectives and them trying to piece the puzzle together. So I think every horror fan gets their fix here. Number 8 is going to be the newest Shudder original, Vermins, also known as Infested. This is a French creature feature about spiders in this apartment. This kid brings home a spider that escapes the shoebox and basically builds a whole family in this apartment. And it's so effective because the spiders aren't ginormous like they usually are. They're very tiny, and they show them just scatter up people's shirts and pants and putting on a shoe and having them run up the leg. It's very squirmy, goosebumpy, and I'm not even arachnophobic at all. I don't have arachnophobia, but this one still kind of messed me up. I really enjoyed Infested a lot. Go check it out. Number 7 is going to be Monkey Man, dude. Monkey Man. I'm not known for liking action movies, so I was very skeptical going into it. But it was a really good movie. It was just a great movie. It had great choreography in the fight scene. Next up is Tim Burton's Mars Attacks. This is a really fun, campy movie that has one of the best casts ever. There's so many huge people in here, and they all go together to form a really fun movie. Number 5 is going to be Interstellar. Yes, this was a first watch. And yes, it's this low. I thought it was an amazing movie that was great. It's not the best thing I've seen ever. It is probably the best Christopher Nolan movie I've seen so far. I do like it better than Oppenheimer. I do like it better than The Dark Knight. I don't know if I like it more than The Prestige. I love The Prestige, but Interstellar was great. Holds amazing performances and has one of the best endings ever. But it's not a holy grail that I'm going to praise and kiss its feet. Number 4 is going to be Parents. I just talked about this in my underrated movie video, so go check that out. Number 3 is going to be Triangle of Sadness. I mean, this shocked me. I thought that this was going to be one of those super artsy, hard to follow movies that are 2 hours and 30 minutes for no reason. Because when this came out, this got a lot of praise, a lot of awards. I was with my mom and dad, right? And we were eating dinner, and we were like, what are we going to watch? I plopped on this. Thankfully, we finished eating by the time the scene happened where they're throwing up. That was funny and gross at the same time. Triangle of Sadness just blew me away. It is such a hilarious movie. I was laughing so much. And that doesn't happen to me a lot. It's very rare that I actually find a movie funny. And it's just is told in a very unique way. It's told like a book. You have like 3 or 4 chapters that are different areas, but you follow the same characters. And it ends off in a very sudden way that leaves you wanting more. But I really liked how it ended. I absolutely adored Triangle of Sadness. Yeah, I wasn't expecting it I wasn't expecting to like it that much. You got Woody Harrelson in it. Number 2 is going to be Dawn of the Dead. This was a first watch. The original Dawn of the Dead was a first watch. I just didn't know how to watch it. It's hard to get on physical. You can't rent it anywhere. I found a rip of it on YouTube. So it's on YouTube. There's plenty of uploads on YouTube. There's even one in black and white. I just watched the normal. Actually, no, I watched the director's cut. It was 2.5 hours. That's the version I watched. Incredible front to end. Just great. Probably the best zombie movie I've ever seen. Now, even though number 1 is above it, I don't think it's a better movie than Dawn of the Dead. I don't. I think Dawn of the Dead is a better movie. But I like this movie so much. And that is I think the newest A24 movie. Actually, no, not now because of Civil War. That is Love Lies Bleeding. This blew me away. I've already seen it twice since it hit digital, and that wasn't that long ago. This is such a good mix of romance, crime, drama, mystery. You get amazing gore and kill scenes in here. You get a just outstanding acting. Again, Kristen Stewart, Ed Harris, Dave Franco. You get some amazing acting performances in here. The ending has this metaphor, this symbolism, that didn't completely click with me the first time. After watching it again and spending more time with it, I appreciate it. But I know that won't work for everybody. You know what I mean if you see it. It's the final kill scene. But I just thought that this was amazing front to end. You get your romance fix. You get your crime fix. I would say like the first 30 minutes is like you get your sexual stuff. You get your lovey-dovey romance stuff with Kristen Stewart and then the buff chick. You get that stuff, and then it just goes away, and it hard shifts on, like, crime. I enjoyed it so much. This is movie of the year for me so far. I need to watch Saint Maud. Same director. I need to watch that, because I've heard good things about that, and after loving this, I need to watch Saint Maud immediately. I might watch it right now. I just might. But I love you guys. That was the video. Please subscribe to me if you like my content. Turn on the bell. That's very important. Leave a like. And follow my Instagram at IanLives_, and follow my Letterboxd at wehateian. I love you guys. This was another monthly ranking. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope I watched some good movies this month. And I'll see you guys next time.